Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes Ms. Frankel for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you. I guess I'm going to defend the beaches. I am from South Florida, the beautiful coastline from Fort Lauderdale past Palm Beach. And I really, I want to talk about the ports and the beaches. Let me start with the beaches and just say that in my neck of the woods, the beaches fund our schools and our firemen, our policemen, our the tourism, lots of jobs. And and we have a lot of people who live on the inland and west, not on the coast, but they get jobs from protecting our beaches. Mayor Simmons, you mentioned a concept of a regional approach to taking care of the coastline, and I'm specifically interested in that, especially with the beaches. And I wanted to understand what your concept is.
Well, the whole idea of regional sediment management. You take, let's just say, sand out of a navigation project that is of beach quality, and you put it on the beach instead of dumping it offshore somewhere because it happens to, at that moment, be the least cost way to do it. If the town that needs the sand then has to go back out to the ocean and get that sand and bring it back to the beach, that's an additional cost that's not considered in most cases when you're talking about a navigation project. The Corps of Engineers, or actually WERDA 2007, created a mechanism for doing this sort of thing, but the Corps rules have made it somewhat difficult to really use. First of all, because they must be tied to a federal navigation project. You can't bring in additional sand that may be nearby to enhance what happens when you're able to put that navigation sand on a beach. The total dollar limits are so low as to almost be useless. And the real big problem is that the system is hamstrung by the requirement that the Corps use the least cost method, and not counting that loss of the value of the sand itself in that cost. So I think there's room for this committee to make some changes to the WERDA action that was taken in 2007 to fix that, if you're willing to do so, and we're certainly more than happy to help get into the weeds on it if you'd like to do that.
So you have language to suggest for us to do that?
I don't know if I have it today, but I can find it for you pretty quick.
Okay. And just related, Mr. Ojar, this is for Dr. Gobler. And thank you, everybody, for your testimony today. I have a question for you, and maybe Mayor Simmons may want to, have a comment on this. But what we're finding with our trying to do beach restoration is there's so many, and I want to say this diplomatically because I consider myself an environmentalist, but there are so many environmental hoops and so many different agencies, and basically it's come down to people versus turtles in Southeast Florida. I don't mean to be facetious about that, but I wanted to ask you: do you feel is there enough known, or is there enough research being done so that we can restore our beaches and keep them sustainable, and also, take care of the ecosystem?
Well, as a scientist, I'd say we could always do more research, but I think in that. Certainly, conservation of aquatic life needs to move forward with conservation of aquatic ecosystems like beaches and dunes. And I'll be honest, I'm not thoroughly familiar with the plight of the turtles in South Florida. But certainly, I think we can all see the value in certain cases of preserving habitat whenever possible, while also preserving our beaches. But I can't imagine that there may be onerous regulation in order to do that.
Well, one of the biggest positive habitats for a turtle is the beach. And if the beach is not there, if the beach is not wide, if the beach is not sandy, where's Mama Turtle going to lay that nest? She's gonna lay it somewhere where the waves are going to wash it away the next morning, next high tide, or she's going to end up in a parking lot or down on the road somewhere. I've actually seen a turtle put a nest in a gravel parking lot. They're pretty resilient creatures, but to suggest anything other than that a beach is a good habitat for a turtle and it ought to be restored, if for no other reason, to take care of the turtles, to take care of the endangered sea beach amaranth. I mean, there are all kinds of reasons, other than the fact that, you know, these beaches generate billions of dollars for the American economy and a lot of jobs. I could go on and on.
Gentlelady's time's expired. The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for 5 minutes.